Hello and welcome back. Today we are going to discuss strategic management in different contexts. By the end of this lesson, we should be able to discuss strategic management in different contexts. So, candidates, strategic management, while it is based on international principles, it is applied differently in different contexts due to the unique challenges and opportunities that each context presents. Do you understand? Strategic management principles are universal principles, but these principles may be applied differently in various contexts due to the unique challenges and opportunities that are posed in those contexts. So in this lesson, we'll look at the context of one, small businesses and large corporations. Number two is the private sector and the public sector. Three is the for-profit and not-profit organizations. The fourth context we discuss is domestic and international organizations. Then lastly, number five is the industry-specific context. 5 different contexts. We are going to discuss strategic management in the 5 different contexts, beginning with the small and large corporations. Small and large, small, let me say small versus large corporations. That is the first context. So how is strategic management applied in small companies? Now, small companies are often faced with the resource constraints and they focus on niche markets. So the strategic management is more informal, it is agile and owner driven. And the strategic management in small organizations focus on market niche and they emphasize adaptability and customer intimacy. That is how strategic management is applied in small corporations. Because they are faced with constraints in resources, they may not have access to capital, access to funding. So such organizations, when it comes to strategic management, they focus on niche market and their strategic management is more informal. Strategic management here is more of informal. Strategy here is more of informal, agile, and owner driven. Here, strategy is driven by the owner. You understand? And it emphasizes adaptability and customer intimacy. Emphasis is on adaptability and customer intimacy. That is small organization. Then there is large. How is strategic management applied in large corporations. Now, large corporations possesses more resources, and they operate in diverse markets. All right. Here, small organizations operate in niche markets, but large organizations operate in diverse markets because they have the resources to diversify. You understand? Their strategic management is typically formal, structured, and involves multiple stakeholders. Here it is formal, structured, and involves multiple stakeholders. As for the small organizations, we say they are owner driven, but in large corporations, there are many stakeholders, and the focus is on maintaining market share. Focus is on maintaining. The focus of strategic management in large corporations is on maintaining market share, diversification, and long-term sustainability. You understand? So that is how strategic management is applied in the context of small versus large organizations. Then number 2 is private sector versus public sector. How is strategic management applied in private sector and how is it applied in the public sector? Now, in the private sector, in the private sector, strategy is driven by profit maximization and shareholder value. Driven by profit maximization and maximizing shareholder value. That is the focus for the private sector. Strategy is driven by profit maximization, it is driven by shareholder value, and strategic management emphasizes competitive advantage, emphasizes there is emphasis on competitive advantage. The purpose of strategic management in the private sector is to build competitive advantage, building competitive advantage, market growth, etc. That is a private sector. How about the public sector? Public sector. Public sector. Now, strategy management in public sector focuses on delivery of public services. Focuses on delivery of public services. Focuses on delivering. Let me say delivering of public services. The government is not interested in maximizing profits, but delivering public services to its citizens. So if the government comes up with a strategy, then the focus will be on service delivery. You understand? Here it is profit maximization, market growth, competitive advantage. There's a lot of competition, but the government does not compete with any organization. The purpose is only to deliver services to its citizens and to fulfill societal needs. And strategic management is often politically influenced. It is politically influenced. Strategy management in the public sector is politically influenced and emphasizes on accountability, transparency, and social impact. Another context is for profit and not profit. 3, for profit versus non-profit organizations. For profit, these are profit-making organizations, and non-profit organizations. Non-profit organizations. For profit, how is strategic management applied in organizations that make profit? Here, candidates, strategic management is primarily concerned with financial performance and maximizing shareholder returns. Concerned with financial performance and maximizing shareholder returns. Profit-making organizations exist to maximize profits and maximize shareholder returns. So if they are to come up with a strategy, then that strategy will emphasize or will be concerned with financial performance and maximizing shareholder returns. That is the focus of strategic management as for the profit-making organizations. Strategic management here centers around profitability, growth, and competitive positioning. All right, you understand? That is, it centers around profitability, growth, centers around profitability, centers around growth, etc. Then we have non-profit making organizations. Now, the strategic management in non-profit making organization focuses on achieving social and environmental missions. It focuses on achieving social and environmental missions. Social and environmental missions. And here, strategic management involves balancing mission fulfillment with financial sustainability, engaging stakeholders, and measuring social impact. So you can see the application in the two contexts is different. Then number four, another context is domestic versus international organizations. How is strategic management applied? One, in domestic organizations. Domestic organizations. First of all, candidates, domestic organizations operate within a single country and primarily cater to the local markets, and therefore strategic management considers local regulations, consider local regulations. The strategy here will consider local regulations, will consider competitive landscape, cultural values. You understand? Competitive advantage, because it operates within the same country, then it has to consider competitive advantages. Domestic corporations considers local regulation. That the strategy will consider local regulations, cultural values within the country, competitive advantages, and so on. Then international organizations. International organizations, on the other hand, operate across multiple countries and face complex challenges that are related to cultural diversity, political risks, and also varying economic conditions. And therefore, strategic management in international companies involves adapting strategies to different markets. Adapting strategies to different markets. The strategic management in international companies will involve adapting strategies to different uh, markets, managing global supply chain, managing global supply chains, and also navigating international regulations. Navigating international regulations. So this is how strategic management is applied in the context of domestic versus international organizations. Then lastly, we can discuss industry-specific context. Industry-specific context. We may have industries like manufacturing industry. How is strategic management applied in manufacturing industries? Now here the focus is on production efficiency, production. If manufacturing organizations were to craft strategies, then the strategies will revolve around production efficiency, around supply chain management, supply chain to revolve around supply chain management, things like innovation in product design, innovation in product design. Strategy will revolve around that, innovation of product design and development, and so on. So that is manufacturing industry. We also have service industry. How can strategic management be applied in service industry? Here, the focus will be on customer service, customer service. It will also be on brand image. If you are offering services, then customers will be interested in the image of the company. There will also be employee engagement. The strategy has to capture the aspect of employee engagement. That is service industry. Another key industry would be technology, for example, technology industry. Now, how can strategic management be applied in technology industry? Here, candidates, technology industry, the strategy may be driven by rapid innovation, rapid innovation, for there are rapid changes in the technology industry. Therefore, if the company in technology industry has to draft or craft strategy, then it will revolve around innovation, disruptive. It will also revolve around disruptive technologies, disruptive technologies, and intellectual property protection. So this is how strategies or strategic management may play out in the technology industry. Then we can mention in closing, health care industry, the healthcare industry. If strategies were to be developed in the healthcare industry, then they must revolve around navigating complex regulations, navigating complex regulations. That is one aspect that is very unique to the healthcare technology, complex regulations. Then there is also the aspect of balancing the customer care or patient care with financial sustainability. All right, with financial sustainability. How do you balance the two? Caring for patients and ensuring that the company is financially sustainable. And also another area could be adapting to changing healthcare needs. All right, adapting to changing healthcare needs. So these are just examples of industry-specific contexts. So candidates, that is the end of the lesson. The lesson is about strategic management in different contexts. We began by saying that though strategic management is based on universal principles, these principles can be applied differently in different contexts. We began by analyzing small and large corporations context. We've analyzed how strategic management can be applied in small organizations. We say that in small organizations, strategies are informal, they are agile, and they are owner-driven. The strategies emphasize on adaptability and customer intimacy. As for the large organizations, strategies or strategic management is formal, structured, and involves multiple stakeholders. Here, the strategy focuses on market share, diversification, and long-term sustainability. The second context is in the context of private sector and public sector. The private sector, we saw, is driven by profit maximization and shareholder value, creating shareholder value, and the emphasis is on competitive advantage, market growth, and so on. If a company was to come up with strategies in the private sector, then it will revolve around competitive advantage, market share, profit maximization, and so on. The third context Before the third context, there is the private sector. Unlike the private sector that focuses on profitability and financial performance, the public sector focuses on delivery of public services, and here strategy is politically influenced. Then the third context is for-profit and non-profit making organizations. We've seen that profit-making organizations are concerned with financial performance and maximizing shareholder returns. Their strategy is centered around profitability and financial growth. As for the non-profit making organization, they focus on achieving social and environmental missions. The fourth context is domestic and international organizations. Domestic versus international organizations, we've seen that domestic organizations consider local regulations, cultural values, competitive advantage, and so on. But as for the international organizations, they have to deal with the issue of adapting strategies to different markets, managing global supply chains, and also navigating international regulations. Then lastly, we've discussed the application of strategic management in industry-specific contexts. We've looked at the manufacturing industry, the service industry, technology industry, and healthcare industry. Do you have any question? If you have a question, please write down there, send it, and I will answer it. But in the meantime, it's your duty to do the following assignment. Question 1, how does strategic management differ between small businesses and large corporations in terms of formality, agility, and focus? 2, what are the key distinctions in strategic management between private sector organizations driven by profit and public sector organizations focused on social welfare? 3, how does strategic management in non-profit organizations differ from that in a for-profit organization, especially in terms of resource allocation and goal setting? 4, when expanding internationally, what unique challenges does strategic management face compared to a purely domestic organization? That is all for today. Next time we meet, we will discuss uncertainty and strategic drift. Bye.